Good afternoon. Many thanks to Paul just before lunch, because I had a realization. I had a huge moment sat there as he was speaking. Maria has asked me to talk about communication with a group of people who are experts in communication. Hopefully I can give you some insights this afternoon. But let's start by asking you two questions. And it's after lunch, so I need you, this is going to be interactive, okay? I am going to be walking around and you're going to be doing stuff this afternoon. So if the answer to one of the following questions is yes, I want you to stand up and stay stood up. And I want you to look around the room and see who else is a yes and who sat down and they're a no. Because there might be some insights into that as we go through. So question number one, quite simply. Who would like to enjoy their work more than they do today? Stand up if that's a yes for you. Okay, look around the room. Now that's not to say that any of you that stood up do not enjoy your work. It might be, I love my work, but I'd actually love to enjoy it even more than I do today, and that's cool. Right, sit down. Question number two. Who would love to have greater sales success than they do today? Okay, fantastic. Look around the room. Now, if you answered yes to either of those questions, then the next hour and 10 minutes is for you. It's for you. Because that is what we're going to do together. I'm going to show you how you can enjoy your work more, how can you make sure your teams are enjoying their work more, and how you can get greater sales success, all in 70 minutes. Would anyone like that? Cool, let's do it together. And the point is that the business I created over 10 years ago, following my corporate career, is all about this. It's helping leaders grow their profit and smiles. We're not charities, okay? We are businesses and we need to grow our bottom line. Because we need to pay people, they need to pay their mortgages, their rent, pay for all the bills, etc. So we need to make profit. That's what business is all about. But actually, do you know what? We spend an awful lot of time at work, don't we? And the more we can enjoy it, actually, the more successful we'll be. In my corporate days, I spent 20 years in corporate pharmaceuticals. In my corporate days, I would have said it was this way around. First, you have commercial success, then you're happy. But actually, what I found was every year that I smashed my targets, I was happy for maybe a week or two at Christmas, and as soon as I got back, I got next year's target, and it was even higher. And then that whole slog started off again. What I do know to be absolutely true is it's actually smiles and profit. Because when we're enjoying it, we're more productive, we're more creative, we learn more, we converse better, we collaborate better, etc., etc. So what we do, everything we do, is about helping leaders grow their profit and smiles. And I know that what I'm going to be sharing with you today works because I used it as a country marketing director, a global marketing director in charge of a $3 billion organization. I worked with all the agencies I worked with at that time using this stuff, and I've refined it. And today I work with senior leaders and their leadership teams, and I share this with them. And the ones that implement it, they grow their profit and smiles. This stuff really works. It's up to you whether you take it and use it or not, okay? But I will show you the secrets of success this way over the next probably 65 minutes now. So here's my agenda. I love really complicated agendas, by the way, right? So this is my agenda. So the whole point today is to grow, to help you grow your profit and smiles, to help you learn and grow. And we're going to go through 3 phases. Phase 1, connect. We're going to do an exercise in a moment that's going to help you connect together, okay? And I heard that connection is so important. When Maria kicked off this morning, she was talking about united and partners and network. They are all about connections, those three words. And actually, the more you can connect together across all of that, the more we can connect with our clients, the more we can connect with the people we collaborate with every day, the more successful we're going to be. Then we're going to play. We're going to get into some exercises together, and you're going to have a play that hopefully will give you some insights as to, maybe this thing doesn't work quite how I thought it did. Maybe there is another way. And I'd ask you just to be curious. We heard a lot about curiosity. Again, I think Paul is one of Paul's 4 things that he talked about, curiosity. So let's link into the curious. And then at the end, commit. I'd like you all to write down one thing at the end of today that you might actually do differently as a result of the hour and a bit that we spent together. How does that sound? That cool? Excellent. So one of the frameworks that I use with the people I work with today, whether I'm mentoring them as individual leaders or whether I'm facilitating their leaderships, is LEAD. Listening, energy management, authenticity, and direction are 4 key elements of leadership. If you want to be successful as a leader, then you need to be understanding what all these mean, and you need to be able to put them into practice. We cannot lead unless we listen, and we've heard this morning how important listening is. You cannot lead unless you can understand and manage your own energy. And once you can understand and manage your own energy, then you can understand and manage other people's energy. Whether they're clients, whether they're the people you collaborate with, your partners, or whether it's your team. We cannot lead if we're not being authentic. If anyone has tried to go to work and be someone they're not, you will find it absolutely exhausting. Exhausting, and it's not sustainable. We've heard of the word sustainability a lot this morning. Being inauthentic is not sustainable. But as a leader, how do you also make sure that everyone can turn up and be themselves without fear of discrimination, without fear of blame, without fear of any inappropriate humor, etc.? That's so important. And direction. Leadership is all about giving direction, not instruction. Because leadership is about empowerment. And if you're giving people instruction, then you're not empowering them. You might as well just employ monkeys. So in an ideal world, I'd love to take you through all 4 of those, but we haven't got enough time. So today, we're going to focus on the first one, listening. What is really good listening? Why is it important? And how can you guys do it? How can you guys listen in a different way from today onwards? And direction. Direction is the key to getting alignment across cross-functional teams, any teams, whether they're from different partner organizations or whether it's you working with your clients, etc., but getting huge alignment to actually set the world on fire with that extra profit that you're looking for. So that's how we're going to focus this today. So the title I was given was this: Great listeners are great communicators. And we're going to start with listening. So, can you turn to someone next to you on the table, right? Just work in pairs. And can you ask yourselves the next 3 questions, okay? And write them down, because I'm going to pick on some of you. I'm going to walk around, pick on some of you, and get your answers to these 3 questions. Why is listening important? For us, for you guys now. Why is listening important? Who should we be listening to? And what do you actually know about good listening? Has anyone been on a listening course, active listening course, and learned something? Let's go pull those out already, okay? So I'll give you about 4 minutes to do this. So 4 minutes, off we go. Okay, thank you. Let's go to the back, because the back always think they're not going to be asked any questions. So, someone on this table, why is listening important? Please, volunteer, or I'll pick on someone. Excellent, thank you.
Okay, okay, that was so tricky, but okay, I'm ready. why is listening is important? Because, I mean, it can create empathy. We have talking about how important is it, especially to create a connection. So listen someone, make you in the position to understand that person that you have in front. So
perfect. Understanding and empathy. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's go to the other table at the back. Any volunteers before they get voluntold? Oh, you're being voluntold by your colleague.
First question, or
why is listening important?
yeah.
Would you like to hold the mic?
Well, I think that every decision, every first action should be based on relevant input.
Okay.
Learning.
Yeah. So the more we understand, then the more the actions we suggest would be appropriate. Yeah. Excellent. What about another person from this table, please? Who's like to volunteer? No one volunteering. What? Thank you. First question. Why is listening important?
I think it's crucial to connect, to understand, and basically to learn, understand, and get to know the people, the target, whoever you're listening to. Perfect summary. And I think Paul was talking about it earlier that in some of the the public relations, he says something like, you guys should be the voice. You should be the voice of the customers. You should be the voice within the business. So the more you understand them, the better you're going to do that role. So it is absolutely about understanding and connecting and empathizing, etc. So excellent answers. So who should we be listening to? Who should we be listening to?
Kids.
Kids. Excellent. We should. The youth of today, right? We learn so much more than the youth of today, right? I wasn't, when I was growing up, I didn't have phones in pockets and things like that. The kids today have grown up with it. Who should we be listening to, please?
Our intuition.
Yeah, our intuition. Perfect. Love it. Our intuition is so important. I was asking several people recently, when you've listened to your intuition, that little whisper in your gut, and you've acted upon it, when has it ever let you down? People say never. I never had anyone say anything other than never. So why do we let our bloody intellect take over so often? I find it, especially in recruitment, right? You write down your ideal candidate. You get someone in front of you and you think, something not quite right here, I'm not too sure. But they've got all the skills I'm looking for. They've got all the experience I'm looking for. And they've even got all the contact lists that I'm looking for. So we go for them. 6 months later, it's an absolute disaster, right? Because there's not a value match or something. That's the intellect overruling our intuition. Who should we be listening to?
Well, we had self that connects to the intuition part, everyone else around us, and the ones that are not speaking.
Ah, very good. The ones who are not speaking as well. Very, very important. The ones who are not speaking. Especially, so if you're running a meeting and you've had 2 people say, I think we should do this, I think we should do this, and there's 10 people in the room, and you go, okay, let's move forward with that then. It seems to be the most popular answer. You've got 8 people that haven't spoken. 8. Only 2 have. Wouldn't it be really good to see what the other 8 people say? Awesome. What about this table? Who should we be listening to?
To everyone who has something interesting for us to say, if we're interested in a topic and we're listening to this person.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Right, so let's get a bit more complicated, complex. What do you know about good listening? What do you know about good listening?
To listen and not to interpret what you think they're saying.
Excellent. Yeah, do you want to pass it around?
There is a difference between listening and hearing. So it's really important to be in the moment with the person you are paying attention to and really hear what they are saying, not only pretend that you are listening to them.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, it's similar, like no multitasking, really listen to the person, no interruption, be present in the moment.
Yeah.
And also not to react immediately, even what you are listening may affect something in you, some emotions, but wait and listen and then you will decide how to react.
Fantastic answers. Thank you very much. Very good. Don't interrupt. Don't have something else on your mind. Listen, be totally present. Go on.
What do you know about good listening? It's also, we use the term shoshin, so beginner's mind, without judgment.
Yeah.
You listen as if you're hearing it for the first time, without the context behind it, and judging by the cover.
Fantastic. Another good answer. And last but not least, what do you know about good listening?
Well, we say more or less the same, but mainly not interrupt and ask good follow-up question.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to do another exercise. I'll go up here and explain it first. I want you to work with someone else on your table, or if you, like you two guys, go and find another table and mix with them. So you're working with someone else, because this is still about connection, right? So we're connecting with other people. So if you were turning right, turn left on your table and work with someone else, and decide which one of you is going to be the questioner and which one's going to be the responder. Okay? There's two roles now, questioner, responder. Now, the questioner, I want you to ask one open question. By open question, I'm sure you all know, but it's a question that you cannot answer yes or no. So if you started with something like, tell me about the best holiday experience you've had in the last 12 months, right? Great open question, right? So there you go. I've just made it easy for you if you can't remember one. So if you're the person asking the question, please ask one question and then zip. You don't say another word until I say the exercise is over. However painful that is for you, however uncomfortable that is for you, you do not say another word. One question, zip. Now, the responder. What do? You answer the question, please. And you keep answering, and you keep answering, and you keep answering until I say stop. However uncomfortable that is for you, however painful that is for you, I want you to keep going, because you'll be amazed what insights this might give to both of you. Everyone understood? Work with someone different, one questioner, one responder, one question, keep answering. Are you ready? Go. Stop! How is it that all the people that told me they had nothing left to say when I said stop kept going? Well, what's that all about? Okay, so let's think about this exercise. So the people who are responding, the people answering the question, please can you stand up? If you're answering, please stand up. Okay. Could you raise your hand, and everyone look, by the way, could you raise your hand if you found that really, really easy? Not one single, or maybe one hand over there. To be honest, I looked over there and two of you were having a conversation a few times, so maybe, you know, don't know, the purity of the exercise, but, there we go. Okay, so I would like a volunteer if possible, but could anyone describe it from your point of view? Like how difficult, what was challenging, etc., etc. Anyone got a quick description? You're happy to do it. Thank you very much.
Well, it's difficult to carry on when you run out of ideas, so it's a bit awkward. You don't really know what to say. You have to think a little bit, so it's a strange feeling. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and it's a strange feeling because it doesn't often happen, right? We don't often get this. Yes, another one over here. Thank you.
For me, the most difficult is not having the both directions, one direction only. So I don't feel comfortable. I think it's important to get feedback and having a proper conversation be directional, than not unidirectional.
Yeah. No, awesome. Anyone else got anything to add? Thank you very much.
For me, it was awkward to be center of attention because our job usually is to be behind and to be the gray cardinal, let's say. Yeah. And when you're given the chance to actually talk more about your feelings, your opinion, and everything that you're thinking, expectation, etc., you just want to stop and give chance to the other person to tell something, and that was not happening at all.
Yeah.
And you were just trying to, okay, what's next? What next? What next?
Yeah.
It's hard to be in the center of attention.
Yeah, you can't see, but there's a lot of nodding going on around you from the other people. So, anyone else got anything else to add? Why it's awkward? Coming over there. My calf muscles just gone really tight, and I don't know why.
Hey, so for me at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to have a lot of time to speak. So I have to build the story in a way so I have a lot to say. So I start further back. But at some point I was like, I need feedback. I need to feel like this is a conversation, because it's like I was feeling I was like talking to somebody that put me on mute, and I was not sure if they're listening, if they're there. So it's kind of, it was weird in that way that you don't have a conversation and don't have another person to respond.
Yeah, and to give you that feedback loop as well. Excellent, thank you. Sit down, everyone, thank you. So the other side of the coin, the people who are listening, please stand up. Okay, listeners, if you found that really, really easy, can you please raise your hand? Like about 3 or 4 people, right? 3 or 4 out of all of you, so not many. So why wasn't it so easy? Anyone can respond to me about why it wasn't so easy? Thank you. No, why wasn't easy? Because most of you said it wasn't easy. So.
It wasn't easy because when you cannot initiate other questions to get to know the person better, there is just this missing piece that you're looking out, because there is more than just the answer to this one question. There is more and more and more, and the more questions you ask, the more you get to know them and to answer the other questions that you have in mind, basically.
Yeah, cool. I think.
Well, maybe the thing I found not so easy was the conversation becomes really not a conversation. It's an exposition. Yeah. So I had a lot of curiosity for more things. I wanted her to deepen into some of the things she was saying, and then obviously she was finding other things to say, and she went away from me. So yeah. And I was also very sorry for her because she was
the empathy coming out, right? Yeah. Anyone else got anything to add? Yes, please. Thank you.
So for me, it was difficult because I was hearing her feelings and I wanted to support her and to say that I feel the same or I feel what she feels. And also I wanted to deepen the conversation in another direction, maybe, to know more about what she wants to say.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting. I'm going to pick up on so many of these points. Anything else? We'll have one more person. Thank you.
I found it harder to listen because she was talking and giving a lot of information, but then you want to understand it better. And then normally you ask another question to really understand what she's saying. And now it was just like, I did understand what she was saying, but it's listening is different.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. You may sit down. So it's really interesting, this concept about really difficult to listen, because I've got so many questions I want to ask, and I want to find more out about that, and I want to interact without that. If it's us asking the questions all the time, whose agenda is it? If we're asking the questions all the time, whose agenda is it? It's ours as the person asking the questions. In that exercise, whose agenda was it? The responders. Imagine if the responder is your customer. You just handed over an agenda to let them tell you. What are they going to tell you? The things that are important to them. Now, did anyone find that this happened? Whether you were the responder or the questioner, you started answering the question and you gave facts and figures, facts and figures, facts and figures. And then you ran out of data and you stopped. And you thought for a minute and you went, oh yeah, facts and figures, facts and figures, facts and figures about something slightly different. And then you stopped because you ran out of data. No more facts and figures. So now you went into your feelings and your judgments around it. right? Your emotions around that thing. And then you stop because you couldn't think of any. Maybe a longer pause. And then suddenly, boom, it was kind of what the bottom line, why this is so important to you. You may not have got all the way through that. But that's typically what happens. So you go through thinking, communication, then there's a pause. Then there's more thinking, then there's pause. Then you go into a feeling communication. Emotions, pictures, stories. Then there's a pause. And then it's knowing. It's your gut feel, it's your bottom line. Imagine if we're in a sales call. You're with a client, and you get data, facts, and figures, pause. You go, I jump in with my next question. Data, facts, and figures, pause. Jump in with my next question. Data, facts, and figures. You never get out of data, facts, and figures. You've never found out about what's important to them, what their emotions, what their judgments are. That's where you're really going to start connecting. And if you pause again and recognize that every pause is actually them transitioning from one communication state to the next one, it's the best question that can be asked, better than any your intellect will come up with. Who knows how long that exercise was? As painful as it seemed. Anyone got an idea? Shout out a number of minutes. 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah? It's actually 6.5. How long does it take to drink a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? About 6 to 8 minutes. So that can be done. That exercise can be done really easily over a cup of coffee, cup of tea. Now, I'm exaggerating it to make a point, but please realize that every time you interrupt, you're stopping the flow of their transitioning into states where they're going to tell you far more about what's important to them. And if you can satisfy that in whatever your proposal or your discussion is about in future activities, your sales are going to go up, I promise you, because you'll be connecting with them at a deeper level. But what also goes on? Let me tell you the 3 rules of listening. The 3 rules of listening. Now, there's one overarching rule, and then there's 2 subsets. So the overarching rule of listening is this. Listening and thinking are mutually exclusive. We simply cannot think and listen at the same time. So all of you guys that asked the question, when you were getting into the point of, there's another question I want to ask, I want to go deeper on that, were you listening to them or were you thinking about your next question? We can't think and listen at the same time. So the moment you're going down, I want to ask them this, I want to ask them this, you're not listening anymore. And you could miss the golden nugget of information that comes out that's like the boom. That's where their pain point is. That's where we need to connect. That's where their frustration is in co-working with me. So it's really important. This is all about our state of mind. And I liken state of mind like a snow globe. I've got a picture of a snow globe down there. When we wake up in the morning and it's all calm, we hear everything that's said to us, typically. But if you're anything like me, you get up, you turn on your phone, you see what WhatsApp messages, what Slack messages, what emails have come through, etc., etc. And I'm already starting to think about which do I need to respond to, who do I need to call first, what's on my agenda for today, have a look at my diary. And that's even before I brush my teeth in the morning. And suddenly my snow globe is getting... When you have snow globe, by 11 o'clock in the morning, your snow globe is so shaken up. If anyone comes along and talks to you, you don't actually hear what they say. Now, my kids are in their 20s now, but when they were younger and I was working from home, they'd burst through the door and say, Dad, can we... I'm in the middle of writing a proposal or doing a PowerPoint presentation or a note to my team or something. I didn't hear a word they said because it's just too busy up there. I started off as a sales rep in the medical industry. Started off as a sales rep. We were taught this selling skills, this pattern we used to use, this process for selling skills. I would ask a GP or a consultant a question. He'd be answering the question. I'd be thinking, now, what's the next question I've got to ask? Oh, yeah, it's that one. Right. Not even listening to what you said because I'm so wound up about I've got to get this new process right. Just fascinating. We cannot think and listen at the same time. So if you remember nothing else, but just remember that, and the key message here is before you go into a listening situation, just check in with how busy is your mind. And if you need to settle your mind, go for a walk, have a coffee, or talk to Natalia about some of her breathing exercises that gets you totally present. She did one this morning that in maybe 2 minutes had us totally present and settled through breathing. Incredible exercise. Talk to her about it. She's the expert, not me. The state of mind is absolutely key. So the two as subsets of this, right? So this is overall important. But listening is not listening until we vacate our position. Right? It's the same thing, but who thinks they understand why this is? Listening is not listening until we vacate our position. Anyone got any ideas? Perfect. You're only searching for reinforcement for what you already think you know. If you are really wedded to a solution to a problem or an opportunity, and someone else gives you, is giving their answer, you might be looking for things to support you. If they say something that doesn't support you, in fact, it's the opposite, you're not listening to them anymore. You're thinking of all the reasons that you're right and they're wrong. And you can't wait to get back, and you're waiting to respond, right? You're not listening, you're waiting to respond. Because you've got all of the reasons why they're wrong. Has everyone been there? Anyone been there? Right? So we're talking about United Partners Network. If we're united, we should be working together. If we're partners, we should be supporting each other. If we're a network, we should all be on the same page. This is really, really important. So I was working with an organization that had just merged 2 companies. And the leadership team were trying to decide where they were going to have their new head office. It was kind of halfway between the two, and it was in a city in the UK, and they couldn't work out whether they should go east or west. And they were really, really divided on this. Mostly about where they lived and how quickly they could get to head office. This was going on. They weren't listening to each other because they were so entrenched in their own position. So what we did is we got them to have a debate, and they had to go and argue for the opposite one to which they believed in. Oh my God. Suddenly they started seeing all the benefits to the one that they were not for. And suddenly we had a very different discussion. So you can force this as well if you want to. Does that make sense? Does everyone, yeah? If I'm not explaining it well, then please say and I'll explain it in a different way. But the third one, again, this is a subset. When we take things personally, we switch off our listening. When we take things personally. Can everyone see why this might be? They're saying something to us, and we start thinking about, how dare you? You're accusing me of that. What about what you did last week? And why? But my intent was to do this. How on earth can you say that was the wrong thing to do? Right? That's our thinking going on again. It's our intellect. It's that Fred in the head, as some people call it, right? And all the time that this is going on, all the time our snow globe is shaken up, we're not actually listening to what they're saying. Even though we might disagree with 80% of it, there might be 20% that's actually really relevant that could help us. Could help us in our own personal development, could actually help us in our partnership working, in our collaboration, in our teamwork. Really, really super important. Any questions on listening? 3 rules of listening. Thinking and listening are mutually exclusive. We cannot think and listen at the same time. Listening is not listening until we vacate our position. And when we take things personally, we switch off our listening. If we get listening right, when we get listening right, we connect with people, we have empathy, we understand them, all those things you were telling me earlier on. We actually have better sales, better collaboration, and we support each other more. And how does it feel to be listened to, knowing that you're being listened to? When you really know the other person is listening to every single word you say. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling, and yet, sadly, so rare today. Yeah, carry on, I'm listening. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, sorry, what was that you're saying? So this is really important. Has anyone read the book by Gary Chapman called The 5 Love Languages? Some of you might have done. Great book to read. Anyway, it talks about one of the 5 love languages, quality time. Quality time. And quality time is exactly this. Being able to have a conversation with someone where they're listening to understand, not listening to respond. So let's move on. My summary. The quality of our listening depends on our state of mind. How busy is our snow globe? When we do have a good state of mind, our snow globe is settled, the quality of our listening goes up, and then it increases our understanding of our people, our team, our partners, and our clients. And when you understand people, when you really understand them, you understand what they're after, what they want to achieve, you understand what their pain points are, the frustrations they've got. When you respond to that, it will increase both your profit and your smiles. They'll love you for being you and for listening to them and valuing them and respecting them. They'll connect with you at a deeper level because you'll be connecting with them at a deeper level. And you'll actually come up with a much better proposal and work proposal than you would have done otherwise. Okay. So that's listening. And we're cracking along because we don't have much time today. So we're going to move on to direction. So what do I mean by direction? Has anyone got an idea what I mean by direction? Say again? Vision. Vision can fit into direction, yeah? What else? You got to know where you're going. Purpose, did you say? Yeah? Okay. So the important thing is that leadership, by definition, leadership is about giving direction. It's not about giving instruction. Okay? And this is really, really fundamental. Leadership is about giving direction, not about giving instruction. If you give direction to a team, they should be able to work out the best way to get there for them. If you give instruction to a team, you're telling them to do it exactly the way you want it to be done. There are some times when you need to give instruction, but I would argue that's not leadership at that moment in time. And that's okay, because we can wear different hats as leaders. Can you just raise your hand? If you're in charge of a team, can you raise your hand, just so I get an idea? Yeah? If you're in charge of projects, can you raise your hand? Excellent. If you're in charge of any kind of partnerships, can you raise your hand? Okay, so most people have put their hand up to one of those. So in those positions, you are in a leadership position, and this is really, really important to you. So I'm going to go through a little exercise with you. And I'm going to use the flip chart if I can, and see how we're getting on. If I do it down at this level, can you all see, or shall I put it up on stage? Is that all right, or go up? It's fine, okay. So when I start working with C-suite, executive boards, leadership teams, etc., I usually get a flip chart and I get a red pen. And in the middle of the chart, I write the word red. Okay? And then let's say there's 8, 10 people around that table, and I'll ask them all, when you see that word, what does that mean for you? So what does red mean? Blood. Okay? Let's go around the table. What does red mean? Wrong. Right, teacher's red pen, but in a big X next to it. Yeah. Was that warm? Okay. I've spelled it right. Alarm. Yeah, good one. Alarm. Yeah. Let's go around. Stop. Love. Oh. Go on, go rogue. Anyone? Power. Danger. Angry. Energy. Okay. Ferrari. Got an F1 person in the room. Okay, I'll leave it there. But you can see, if you've got a team of 9 or 10 people, then I'll have 9 or 10 different words up here. typically. And then I say to them, okay, let's say I'm going to leave the room for a moment and I'm going to leave you alone to discuss which one of these that means for you. And I don't want you to just go to the boss, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full. But I need you to buy into it heart and soul. So every single cell in your body buys into the fact that red means that. So when you go back to your own countries, when you go back to your own teams, and they challenge you, you are 100% steadfast. You will not budge, because you know with every cell that red means that. And I say to them, these highly paid, really clever, bright, intelligent, executive board people, how long would it take you to reach that point of complete and utter consensus? And what do you imagine the most common answer I get over 90% of the time is? How long do you think they say it would take them to reach that point of complete and utter consensus? Never. The most common answer I get is never. Sometimes someone will say 1 hour, and then the others around the room start laughing and say, oh, right, like that maternity policy we still haven't updated for 2 years, and the car policy we haven't updated for 3 years, and da-da-da-da-da. And I say, right, let me explain why. We call this down here content. This is content. And I get them to write these words down. And if you want to write anything down today, write these words down. This could transform your life, let alone your working life. And the words are, decisions are never, in block caps and underlined, made in content. Decisions are never made in content. If you are with your significant other at home and you can't make a decision, if you are in a team at work of 4 people, of 8 people, of 12 people, of 20 people, and you can't make a decision, it's because you are stuck in content. Now, what typically happens, imagine you've got a team of, say, 6 people. There's some kind of challenge that you've got, and everyone is asked for, what do you think we could do to solve this challenge? Everyone gives their own opinion. And they're all different. So you say, well, can we make a decision? No. So what do? You go round the table again. What does everyone say? Exactly the same as what they said before. They've just turned the volume up from 3 out of 10 to 7 out of 10, right? And then you get to the end and say, well, we've run out of time. So can everyone go away and do a cost-benefit analysis, risk-benefit analysis, analysis, and we'll come back in 2 weeks and we'll see where we are. What happens in that 2 weeks? Well, there's several things happen. The first is you are all so busy, you have to prioritize your priorities. So you're already only doing the things that are going to drive the business forward. You now have to not do one of those things. So you're taking your foot off the gas, right? And then you're doing this analysis. Well, that's like putting your foot on the brake, because that's taking time, effort, and money that's taking everything away from the things you want to do. You come back in 2 weeks, and what's happened? Remember, listening is not listening until we vacate our position. You've just entrenched yourself even more in your solution, because you thought about it even more. So you get back in the room, there's 6 of you, all more entrenched now in the solution you had. What are you not going to be doing to each other? Listening. Thank you. It doesn't bode well, does it? So what's the answer? Well, the answer is that it's not found down here. It's found up here in what we in our business call the essence. Another word for essence might be context. Context. Because if I told you that the essence for our business, the essence for United Partners Network for the next 12 months, the essence for this meeting is traffic lights. So we're talking about traffic lights. Now, what does red mean? What does red mean? Stop. What does red mean? Okay, so in less than a second, everyone now says, well, it's obvious, it's that. But it wasn't made down here, it was made up here. Look what you just did for the organization. You just went, no. Maybe. Yes, definitely. Tick. How quick was that decision made? Imagine that level of alignment between you and one of your service agencies, you and one of your clients, you and one of your partners. You get decisions like that. And not only that, but if you understand that it's not just red, it's traffic light red, then you'll know what Pantone color it is, where it should be placed, and how brightly it should be placed. Empowerment is so much easier. So what's this got to do with collaboration and partnership working and listening and all of that stuff? Well, this down here, this is how we do things, okay? This here is what we want to do. And by the way, there's 3 what's, because there's also amber and green, but they all have different hows. And the final one up here is why. Now, I can tell you that most of the companies that I've worked with, which is well over a couple of hundred over the last 20 years, they are absolutely brilliant at this. They're brilliant at it. What we need to achieve is this sales growth, this market share penetration, this. And they can measure it in every which way. They know a bit about empowerments. They say to the team, how can we do it? Well, what happens is, head of HR goes, oh, it's red this year, everyone. And with all the right will in the world, all the right intention, they brief their team, stop everything. It's red this year. Stop, stop, stop. The sales team have gone, it's red this year. It's Ferrari. It's fast. Foot on the gas. Let's go, go, go. And you had parts of the organization, parts of the collaboration, the partnership pulling against each other because they never gave the time to discuss why. Why are we doing it? And this isn't an easy discussion because we don't have it very often. And to get it really succinct, any why that's more than about 4 or 5 words long is too long. Less is more. It gives more clarity. Why are we doing it? What's our why? What's our purpose? So leadership, right? Leadership is this bit here. Leadership is making sure that we are really clear what we need to do is this, why we need to do it is this, and then empowering the team. Can you now tell me how we're going to do that? And as soon as your team say, well, we could do it this way, that's great, because they told you it's possible and how to play to their strengths. Now, you don't have to just accept everything they say. That's a different discussion. But the key message here today is, if you want to make more profit and smiles, because this just creates frustration, right? This gets people really wound up and angry and pissed off because it's not working. Get that alignment here and everyone really enjoys the ride because they can add more value. The other message here is, if you're in a team and you're not clear on the what or the why, ask that question. And be proud of yourself for asking it because it adds value. That adds strategic value. You're earning your money if you ask those questions if it's not clear. Really conscious of time. Any questions on this? Cool. So, see my funky PowerPoint now. I tried to do that just in case I couldn't make flip chart work. So what is red? Typical answers that come up. That's content. Decisions are never made in content. The essence is missing. If it's traffic lights, everyone knows it's stop. That's how, that's what, that's why. So why is this important? Because ambiguity is the enemy of change. We're all in business, therefore we're in the change business. We want people to do things differently. We've just heard from all the speakers this morning how we need to do things differently. We need to embrace AI. We need to embrace Instagram and all the other things that I can't remember because I'm too old. And we need to be doing things differently. If we're not clear on the what and the why, we are giving ambiguity. We will not be as successful. So what's the opposite of ambiguity? It's clarity. And if ambiguity is the enemy of change, then I promise you that clarity is the catalyst of change. You'll get decisions faster, you'll get more activity and productivity and inspiration and innovation from your teams if you give them real clarity in the what and the why. That's your job, to get really clear on that. Clarity is the catalyst of change. And it's about, when we're leading teams, when we're involved in teams, it's about having really good direction across the cross-functional team, whether they're internal or external or partners or whatever it is. The more that we can have that direction and agree what we want to achieve is this, and why we want to do that is this. If we can agree that at the top level of that project, across the partnership, across the collaboration, across the client customer base, etc., then every minute you spend here will pay back hundreds of fold. Hundreds of fold. I promise you. It happens all the time. And this is the benefits. And this, I check all this with my clients all the time. Greater alignment across the board. Very little scope creep, because you're so focused on, well, if you're going to do that, because everyone says, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that as well. Okay, does it help me achieve that what? And does it fall within that why? No. Okay, well, no, it's not for this project then. It makes those decisions really easy as a leader. So there's no scope creep. There's no rabbit holes that people go down. Rapid decisions. It's more enjoyment. It's a lot less frustrating. And that leads to profit and smiles. This is really good stuff if you can put this into practice. Really good stuff. Now, bizarrely, I wrote this before I even knew what the theme of today was going to be. And when I saw the title as I got here, I just burst into fits of laughter and said to Maria, that's hilarious. Because one of my last slides is that. And it is about, all of this listening and direction is about slowing down to speed up. Slow down the speed of your thinking. Let your snow globe settle and you will listen better. You will connect better. You will understand more. It really is the key to success. Slow down and make sure that you've got a what and the why. I was working with a senior team from Novartis. I'm sure most of you have heard of Novartis, big pharmaceutical company. And I said, I get your what. Have you got your why clear? They went, yeah, we all know our why. I said, okay, can someone tell me what the why is? Yeah, well, it's obvious. Okay, great, it's obvious. Well, we all know it. Good, I'm glad you all know it. I'm glad it's clear. I'm glad it's obvious. Can someone please tell me what your why is? 12 people in the room, not one person could tell me what the why was. I said, so you don't know your why. And when we teased it out, it's because they used to have discussions around it, but they didn't have the balls to actually not get through it, because it can be difficult to get to it. So please don't be like Novartis. Be better than that. So, final part. There's some paper and pens in front of you. Or if you want, do it on your phone in your notes section or wherever you have your book. And can you please write down one thing that you will do as a result of our time together today? One thing. Not 5, not 6, just one. One that you will do as a result of this hour or so that we spent together. When you have something written down, please stand up. When you have something written down, please stand up. It's a little facilitator's tip. If you're ever running a meeting and you want to put pressure on people hurrying up, then you just get everyone else to stand up. They're going, oh, I've got to finish it quick. Got a table at the back with no one stood up yet. They're really slow. They've taken slow down to speed up ridiculously, realistically. Cool. Any volunteers for sharing what they've written down before I pick on people? Happy to have volunteers if volunteers. Got one over here. Thank you very much.
So what I wrote was from the perspective of this conversation that I had with her, but I think it can be applied to any conversation. So it actually involves both of the things that you said. So first part of the sentences, I will listen more to, for instance, Desi, but also my clients and my partners maybe, and etc., etc. And then, but I will make sure to give them the right questions, ergo direction on what I want them to talk about, because I found out that if you give the right question to a person and then you step back and listen carefully, as you said, then you actually get a lot more information than when maybe you listen well, but you don't give the right question, or vice versa, like you give the right question, but then you don't give them the space to actually, answer it properly. So yeah, that's it.
Nice. A lovely combination of both there. Quietening the mind to listen well and also giving better direction. Any other volunteers before I pick on people? Okay, here we go, picking on people.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna read. I would like to try to better understand what my team is telling to me, even without words.
Yeah.
I think this is my objective.
Yeah, so there's a bit of listening in that as well, right? Yeah. Excellent.
My idea was to be more conscious about putting the right questions, that it was mentioned before, working with any given team, like my clients or my colleagues, and also making them, asking them to pay more attention to each other's answers and being more reactive to what the other people's answers are. So it will lead to more efficient decision making.
Nice. So not just taking your learning and applying it, but sharing it with others in your team as well. Thank you.
I wrote down to remain silent for a little bit more time when I'm listening, and just to give the other person more space to evolve his response.
Perfect. Let's try that for a week and see just the extra information you hear. You also take pressure off yourself. If all you're doing is listening to understand, you take pressure off yourself to actually understand. We'll finish with you. Make it good. You're going to be the last one to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll try to make it as a two-way street. So to have respect to the partner, to listen to the person, and at the same time to respect my own feelings and my own thoughts. So it would be really like
Nice.
Two-way street. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let's sit down. So, in closing, I want to thank you all for playing along, right, and interacting, because it makes it more fun for all of us, including me. That's my email address. I have two things, if you would like them, right? I am putting a brochure together to summarize what we talked about today around listening and direction. If you do want to share this with your wider team, that might be a useful piece of kit for you to have. If you want a brochure, send me an email to that address with the title brochure. All right, that's all you have to do, and I will send it to you probably next week, okay? So I haven't written it fully yet. I started it. I didn't know what we were going to cover fully, okay? The second one is, if any of you would like a 20-minute discovery call, free of charge, with me on Teams or Zoom over the next couple of months, then if you email me today and the title is Discovery Call, then we will book in a 20-minute session. And whether you want to go over this again, whether you want to explore E and A, if you remember, I talked about L, E, A, and D. If you want to explore E and A, I can do that with you. Or if you just want to talk about some of the challenges you've got as a leader and how might I suggest or help you get on that, then that's it. It's all as service to you. That's genuinely what it's all there for. So if you want either of those things, email me today and they'll be on your way. Any questions? I've got about 30 seconds left. Excellent. No. Good. I will hand over to you. Thank you.